Okay, welcome. Today we are going to demonstrate the takeoff profile, including the reverse C with curly Q. Normally a C is drawn from the top. If you recall your grade school days, sometimes it had a little curly Q at the top, and then you drew your C. Today we're going to do the reverse C pattern, which is our after takeoff pattern, and we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to work our way around to the top with the curly Q. That way we won't forget any important buttonology that's required in order to get the airplane established on autopilot and flying the correct nav aid. So, starting with cleared for takeoff, we're going to go ahead and give it full power. Alright, we're going to look up at N1 and there we will see APR armed in green. Next we're going to look to see that our airspeeds are both alive. Okay, so they're rolling, we'll say airspeed alive, and then we're going to cross-check our airspeeds so that both of our airspeeds approximately match. If we have a big disagreement, we're going to abort the takeoff. Alright, so airspeeds alive, airspeeds cross-check, and next we'll be looking for VR speed. So maybe 10 knots before you say 10 knots, and then VR. At VR, you're going to pull back on the stick until the nose wheel breaks loose, at which point you're going to release a little back pressure. Otherwise, the pitch attitude is going to go right through 10 degrees and right up to about 15 degrees. And subsequent to that, we are going to trim nose forward, nose down, because there's a giant difference in our rotation speed of 90 knots to our climb speed of 200 knots. So a lot of pressure on that horizontal stabilizer and elevator that you have to get rid of by trimming nose forward. I should mention that we want to probably have about 19% pitch nose up for takeoff. That's just about right to give you the right back pressure on the stick. Alright, so there we are. We've rotated. We're at 10 degrees pitch attitude. And now what we want to do is positive rate of climb, gear up, 120 knots, flaps up, and then we'll automatically bring this back by muscle memory, let go of it, and we'll see MCT under the N1 tape. APR armed will disappear. Alright, at that point we've cleaned the airplane up, and now we begin our reverse C. So from the center throttle quadrant, we're going to begin our reverse C coming over to line select key number 1 left, and more often than not we're going to be in FMS. Let's say, however, for the sake of argument, that we just shot an ILS. This is what we're going to see. Alright? And that's probably not how we're going to shoot our missed approach, so we need to put this in FMS in order for the autopilot to fly the profile that we want it to fly. So anyway, check your line select key number 1 left. It's the only place the autopilot takes a command is from line select key number 1 left. Alright, from there we're going to come up to the autopilot panel. We're going to turn the autopilot on, which should automatically turn on the yaw damper. If we want auto throttles, we can push auto throttles. Then we have two sets of 2 buttons. Nav heading is our lateral mode, and altitude change altitude is our vertical mode. So we need to make a selection here. If we are shooting a published missed approach, for example, we're going to hit nav because we want the autopilot to follow the track of the published missed approach. However, today we're taking off from Long Beach, and that's just a heading. So we've pre-selected 180 degrees on the heading. We're simply going to push the heading bug, and then we're going to push altitude change, which will bug 160. We'll have to reset our speed to 200, and that will get us climbing where we need to go. So now we've gone methodically, haven't skipped any buttons, all the way across the entire autopilot control panel. If we need a more rapid climb, altitude change is very subtle and it takes a while to get the pitch moving in the right direction. There are certain advantages to altitude change in that it will bug a speed for climb and it will bug a vertical speed for descent. So that's the primary big advantage. Plus it gives your passengers a more comfortable ride to the extent that it makes very subtle movements. If we need a more quick change of pitch attitude, then we would use our altitude button and we would push it until we read pitch in the FMA. In any case, no matter what buttons we push up here, we're going to verify in the flight management annunciator, or what we call the scoreboard, that those buttons have taken and that we have the correct heading and pitched altitude if that's what we're looking for. Alright, from the last button push, we're going to do the curly Q. We're going to come down here and say flaps are up, we'll see that there'll be no greens, so that means the gear's up. Then we'll come up and see that the yaw damper is on, and finally we'll look down here and see that MCT is set. At which point, we will grab our checklist, we will pull it out, and we'll make a cursory look at after takeoff checklist, and we'll say after takeoff checklist complete, and then we'll store it back in the side pouch where we always keep it, and that way we can always find it. So that takes us all the way through a takeoff, including the reverse C after takeoff checklist. So thank you for watching. I hope that helps you in your studies towards becoming a type-rated Eclipse pilot.